Hey y'all, and welcome to Politbro. My name is Brian, and Senator Slotkin, you know of the seditious six, nearly loses her mind when this Trump nominee refuses to answer her insane question. Let's dive in.
I'm concerned that Secretary Hegseth is looking to chart his own path on legal issues. As I understand it, in March, he brought in his personal lawyer, Timothy Parlatore, to oversee sweeping reforms of the JAG Corps, those thousands of military lawyers in the Department of Defense who meter out how military leaders are, or how military lawyers are trained and the decisions that they make. If confirmed, would you be Timothy Parlatore's boss, or would he be your boss? Can you turn on your mic for us?
Thank you for the question, Senator. Senator, President Trump nominated me to be the Chief Legal Officer of the Department of Defense. I will be the Chief Legal Officer of the Department of Defense and the Principal Staff Assistant to the Secretary on all legal matters. So, I'm not really. So I've been reading newspaper articles about Mr. Parlatore, but I don't know him. I don't think he just became a judge advocate. So I'm not aware of these efforts, but I will be the Chief Legal Officer of the Department of Defense, Senator. I'm not an empty suit. I'm a serious guy, and I will speak up if I have to
That's
speak
what
up.
we want. We want the Senate-confirmed official to be the senior lawyer. I hope that Mr. Hegseth's personal lawyer doesn't start to employ sweeping reforms, given what the Secretary has already done with the JAG Corps. In that role, which we want you to serve you will be asked to meter out really big decisions for the Department of Defense. There are times when presidents and secretaries of defense ask for things that violate the Constitution, and you are standing in the breach, making those tough calls, as we discussed in our office. So can you just confirm for me that, and a couple of things, that if you are told that active duty military is being asked to come in to suppress nonviolent protests in violation of posse comitatus, will you determine and advocate that that not be a way the Department of Defense is employed?
Senator, I will advise on the law, and I will tell my clients what the law is.
Well, I think the law is pretty clear about active duty suppressing nonviolent protests in violation of posse comitatus. What about U.S. military holding U.S. citizens indefinitely without charge or access to courts? Will you push back on any attempt to use those unlawful powers?
Senator, you raised a hypothetical scenario, which is extraordinary. I'm not aware of that occurring today, or
I hope it never
President Trump
happens. We hope it never happens. But it's clearly
hypothetical,
illegal,
Senator.
right? I mean,
I can't imagine no situation where a U.S. citizen could be held indefinitely without any access to courts or due process. I don't see that, Senator.
Great. I hope you'll push back on that. What about if you're asked to punish military personnel for expressing lawful political views outside of their official duties? Would you advocate for military punishment in that case?
So Senator, the General Counsel of the Department of Defense, if I'm confirmed, we don't punish anybody. I'm a lawyer. I
Well,
provide
make a
legal advice.
recommendation. Your recommendation.
And what's the scenario again, Senator?
That a member of the military expresses a lawful political view outside of their official duties.
I think lawful political views in the eye of the beholder, Senator. As you know, members of the Joint Force, the Armed Forces, have truncated First Amendment rights. So if they're making disparaging remarks about members of the Senate or of the Commander-in-Chief, that's an issue that we need to study.
If in their private life they express a view that they might consider voting for a Democrat, is that something you would recommend advocating some sort of reprimand for?
Senator, I don't have anything against Democrats. No, I'm not to be flippant, but no. It's a hypothetical, but I can't imagine a scenario like that, Senator.
Well, I mean, we see four-star generals being fired because of their alleged views, right? We're seeing people removed, JAGs, people I'm assuming you've served with for years, be removed for doing their jobs because they don't comport with the political views of the Secretary of Defense. So it's not a hypothetical to ask whether someone's going to be punished for their political views outside of work.
Senator, I haven't seen any evidence that the JAGs were removed because of their political views. I've not seen that.
Okay.
Maybe you have access to stuff I haven't seen.
Well, I think can we agree it's highly unusual to remove that many JAGs at one time? Have you ever seen in your career the removal of that many JAGs at one time?
Again, Senator,
have you ever seen it? You've been there for a long time, serving.
I have not seen it in my career, but I will tell you this, that one of those Judge Advocates General resigned before the administration even started. So we're talking about two peoples, Senator, and the actions taken by the Secretary were lawful to my understanding.
I'm out of time, so I yield back.
What they're really saying is maybe, just maybe, you shouldn't do what the president tells you to do. And see, that's why they get the name the Seditious Six. And then they keep doubling down on this insipid talking point, essentially asking Earl Matthews here, and he's going to be fine for the role. He has been in and out of the legal profession. He's been a legal counsel for a whole bunch of different organizations. The dude's been around, and he's apparently fairly based, particularly if he's being picked by the Trump team again, because this is his second go-round at the position. And the question that should be asked is, okay, are you willing to stand up to your boss and say something that goes against his views? That's an understandable question to ask, right? Particularly when it's the Senate. You need to give your advice. You need to give your consent. It's one of the great benefits of being the part of the Senate. You care about foreign policy and you care about how the government works. That's what they're supposed to do, all right? That's part of the genius in our political system. And so asking good questions is a good thing, right? When it comes from a two-faced senator, however, who has a history of double entendre when it comes to her own words and loyalties to the United States, all of a sudden, those questions now have extra meaning attached to it. Hey, y'all. If you want to drop a few extra pounds, boost energy levels, or just reduce swelling to your hands and feet, then you're going to love these two American-made supplements. The first is Liver Health Formula. Fat deposits in the liver can really pile on the pounds and make you feel tired. Liver Health Formula helps remove that excess fat with natural ingredients like artichoke extract and milk thistle. In a customer survey, 60% reported better weight management and 87% reported more energy. And the next is lymph system support. The natural ingredients in lymph system support helps gently flush out fluids and toxins out of the body, which can reduce swelling in the legs and feet. And right now, for a limited time, you can get 35% off Liver Health Formula and lymph system support, along with over 45 health supplements Pure Health Research has to offer. Head on over to purehealthresearch.com and use coupon code POLITI for your offer. That's purehealthresearch.com with coupon code POLITI to save you 35% on your order today. And while I don't like that postmodern nonsense, that's the game that we're all playing. That's the ball field that we're all playing on right now. And the Democrats have started this, and it just keeps getting weirder. Asking a nominee, are you going to stand up to your boss, is different than, are you going to stand up to illegal orders in conjunction with something that I said about 2 weeks ago that landed me in so much hot water, mind you, that they're probably going to try to charge her for literal sedition. I mean, it is in the U.S. law code. There is a direct law that tells you what sedition looks like, and guess what? Slotkin has kind of broken that. So, we are now playing on this very weird playing field. And this is what I say constantly of at least Republicans when they were going on to left-stream media outlets. It used to be Republicans are gearing up for a baseball game, even though it's being played on a football field with full gear, and we forgot our pads and helmet. We are now playing a game of rhetorical chicken. And eventually, someone's going to blink, but what might wind up happening is you have two cars, and it's just going to be a weird add-on collision, because the Democrats do not want to admit that they keep taking things one step too far, and the Republicans don't really call them out on it, until the Seditious Six. So we are now in a situation where the Democrats are basically saying they're not moving, they're not blinking, and they're not going to. It doesn't matter that you have people like John Fetterman out there basically saying, put the brakes on, let's get out of the roadway and rethink this whole process. Meanwhile, the Republicans, they aren't really playing the game of chicken, they're just kind of standing there on the road. And they're trying to get some things together, but I will be honest, it's happening slow, and it's getting scary, because the car keeps on getting closer and closer and closer. And eventually, someone's going to have to blink. And we've already seen what happens when rhetoric gets out of control. We saw it with Charlie Kirk. We saw it when a deranged lunatic tried to shoot up the congressional baseball practice field. Steve Scalise nearly lost his life during that incident. We are in a situation where violent rhetoric keeps rising. And the job of a senator is to cool down that rhetoric. You go to the Senate because you actually have the temperament to deal with not only insane foreign policy ideas, but also the insanities of our own government. You have to be able to look into the abyss and not blink. And, well, guess what? When you look into the abyss looks back into you. And we're starting to see what happens when Democrats stop playing nice. When they stop, when they say the quiet part out loud. The current data that we keep on seeing when it comes to the rise in political violence has been staggering. And this rhetorical problem keeps on getting worse. I think the biggest issue is Democrats love it. They love this style of rhetoric. They love the fact that they were saying, don't obey illegal orders. Wink. They love this. Their base enjoys this. And it's a terrifying proposition because it's basically an admission that they are okay with dehumanizing you and me. They just elected an attorney general over in Virginia who fantasized about the deaths of innocent children in order to win a political point. The Democrats almost elected in a very odd election in Tennessee. Fortunately, enough Republicans turned out. But the person that they nominated basically said that they hated Nashville. They hated the culture. They even hated the music. And the Democrats either know and don't care and agree with it, or they don't know and have a terrible source for their news. And that's why we keep on getting people like Slotkin asking this insipid question that means nothing, but it keeps feeding their narrative. And like I said, the bar keeps getting lowered. This is the Senate, and it needs to be treated with way more respect than what the Democrats are seemingly giving us when it comes to our democracy. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. My name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Politibrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Until then, y'all have a good one.